Charlotte Motor Speedway. They're lean, they're mean, they're 5 to 7 horses, a man and machine. They're 4 wide before they start to slip and slide. The Coast to Coast Racing League 350A Modifieds, Pro Late Models, and the 360 Sprint Cars.
We are live on the Coast to Coast Racing Network at the Federated Auto Parts Raceway at I-55. And man, we've had some good races here in the past already. I've seen a good one this season, and I look forward to another night full of them. So make sure you stick around. This is all presented by Flatline Racing Bodies, but the first main sponsor of the night here, A&J Custom Creations. You're seeing it on the front of that 187 of the top dog right now, Rick Main. Big shout out to A&J Custom Creations for sponsoring the 305 Sprint Cars this season. We, of course, have this followed by the 360 Sprint Cars, which will then be followed by the wingless midget sprint cars. And Rick Main right now working on the bottom here under that 79 of Dean Reynolds. Dean trying to take that little go-kart, just powering around the outside. It's a good test for these guys. You know, the 305 now goes down, shuts the door. Rick Main gonna go upstairs now, but Dino pulling down low, possibly just getting out of the way here. Rick gonna keep on rolling, but it is, like I say, you know, not broken record time, but it will be a good race here at the I-55 race, especially, you know, right now you're only seeing 10 guys. And, well, I'm going to be honest with you, I've been sitting in here since pretty much 6:35. I got on pretty early tonight, just been hanging out. I was depressed. There for a while, there were only 6 guys in here for the longest time. And now, what do they call it? You know, the snowball effect. You get one driver in here, he blows the horn. Now they're all starting to show up. We've got 14 in the session. Brandon Templeton, Blake Chapman, Mason Hine, and Ted York have not put in a lap time. We do have guys here, just some of them being shy. Staying off the racetrack for now. I thought we had an Anthony Morano sighting, but we don't. We have a John Morano sighting. He's out there tonight. He's not on the racetrack, though. That's Terry Landis and Joseph Grandy we're looking at right there. Let's see. Brad Waite, the only car on the racetrack here, and practice number 2. iRacing, you know, they'll divvy the guys up in practice. You have more than, 12 about, it gets pretty congested, so I think that's their cutoff line. Maybe even a little lower than that, but it gets pretty backed up out there if, you got a bunch of sprint cars on this small racetrack at the same time. But Brad Waite, you're looking at one of the guys, might possibly go out here and contend for that pole here in the 814. So get used to seeing that thing. Now we got the 09 of Ted York. Ted, new to me. Maybe I should know this name, but a newer looking car too to me. Nice to see Ted York here in the Coast to Coast Racing League. Just joined up in the practice too. He's, I think, the most recent guy to join, so you're seeing his first couple laps on the racetrack. Mason Hine yet to go out there and put a lap in. Do we have B-Temp doing anything yet? No, sir, we do not. Is he in his own practice room? Or Brandon maybe disconnected. That's weird. Nobody else was even in that room. See Ted here. I click on Brandon. All disappears. I wonder if Brandon possibly disconnected. Not hear it. Or hopefully B-Temp's here. Right, he's always fun watching him climb his way through the race. But you saw there a little bit, checkered flag waves. That's going to do it for warm-ups. We're going to get ready to roll into your A&J Custom Creations 305 Sprint Car qualifying here at the Federated Auto Parts Raceway at I-55. And, well, Brandon Templeton's here. He's going to be the first one on that racetrack. That'll be the giveaway. No, Brandon's not here. B-Temp not here. And I'll tell you, I just give it to the guy who's first. Look at this. They're at identical spots, but Dino just barely ahead. So let's watch Dino here as he rolls around for lap number 1. Got that 79 ripping the top shelf. Dean Reynolds crosses the line. Purple sector 2. What's it going to be? Fight between him and Grandy, who comes home P2 lap number 1. Joseph Grandy, his second time across. Can he improve? Grandy gonna go to the top of the charts with an 11.28 to 5.18 with quick time. But I told you, keep an eye on the 8.14. His second and final time around. That's the top of the charts. Brad Waite coming to play, and Blake Chapman, he's going to go out here and try to flex his muscles a little bit. He won't be racing his heat race, I don't believe, doing the back row challenge here, back of the field. Trying to start from the back, but Blake looking good in qualifying. Kind of bailed there, I believe, on that second lap. Maybe didn't like it, but lap 1, only 100th off of your pole sitter in the 8.14, Brad Waite. Your top 5. Brad Waite, Blake Chapman, Rick Main, Joseph Grandy, and Dean Reynolds. Is Brian Moore Sr.? Let's see. He's going to get out here. I don't know if he's going to have enough time to get the lap in. You can see that time there. I cheated. Got the time over there instead of laps. I just noticed I've had it like that. He's not going to have the time. So he's coming around through 3 and 4. It's going to be how close he is. Right now, it's going to end it. Shouldn't give that to him. No, you can see it doesn't pop him up on the charts. It won't. That's a tough break, but sometimes, you know, you can't always go your way, and that's where you got to just chalk it up to maybe you had a motor issue and qualify. Stuff happens in the racing world, and most drivers wish it didn't, but the sad reality is it does. And rounding out the field, the 31 of B-Temp, Brandon Templeton. Row 3 to the outside, the 789 of Cale Bixler to the inside, the 009 of Ted York. Row 2 to the top shelf, the 814 of Brad Waite to the inside, the 187 of Rick Mayne. Row number 1 for heat race number 1 to the outside, the 79 of Dean Reynolds, and starting on the pole, the Desert Demon in the 161, Terry Landis. Terry Landis is going to be really, really tough to beat from that front row. But Dino, he's been good lately. If anybody can do it, it's that 79. He's going to have to flex those muscles, really railing around the high side, because Rick Mayne and Brad Waite are not going to mess around. They're ready to play as well. So we're going to go down the backstretch for the final time here at the I-55 Raceway. We're going to watch that Steve King Foundation pace truck pull off. 161 Cheaters. ShaggyTV / Judy Special is about to drop the hammer as we're underway at the I-55 Raceway. Winner of heat race number 1 starts on the pole. Dean Reynolds trying to hook up. Terry able to slot in line, take a peek low through 3 and 4. They're battling side by side. Give it to Dino. Rick Mayne almost dives it in there 3 wide, but Brad Waite with a big run off the top shelf through 1 and 2. He gets into the back of the 161. He's got to check up. Rick Mayne had to go low. He gets into the 789 of Cale Bixler, and Cale trying to get the 2-for-1 discount as the battle rages for the lead. Landis looked like he had a run there, but Dino stormed by like he was taking Normandy coming out of 2. And the 161 going to have to go back to work here, try to build up the steam in that 161. We've only got 2 to play here. Running out of time, and Terry's going to have some company here real soon. Rick Mayne to the bottom. He gets back around. That 814 are able to hold off the 814. My apologies. It's actually Brad Waite reeling these guys back in, but all this half a lap to play. Dino, final time through 3 and 4. He's going to win heat race number 1, followed by the Desert Demon, Rick Mayne, Brad Waite, Cale Bixler, Ted York, and B-Temp with the no-show. Pretty good race there, though. Heat race number 1. You cannot be disappointed with that, setting the standard high. Let's take a look at the starting grid for your second and final heat race for your A&J Custom Creations 305 Sprint. Brian Moore Sr. rounds out the field in the 055. That's Mr. Wednesday Night. Row 3 to the top shelf, the 033 of John Morano. To the inside, the 75 of the Mayor, Steve Bixler. Row 2 to the outside, the 20 of the salesman, Blake Chapman, who I can see has not gridded, won't gridded, because, like I mentioned to you earlier, going to start in the back here of the feature, trying to challenge himself a little bit this season, trying to learn. And if this kid learns much more, well, good luck, everybody else. He's inside the 518 of 100 grand. Joseph Grandy, with the way he's been racing, has to be the favorite here tonight at the I-55 race. Row number 1 for heat race number 2 to the outside, the Librarian in the 41, Pat Boyce. And starting on the pole, the 89 of Hit 'em with the Hind, Mason Hine. Roll around here one more time. One more final time down the lonely backstretch here at the I-55 Raceway, and the Librarian, Pat Boyce, looking to take advantage of this wonderful starting spot. You can't ask for much more than this here. Starting on the front row, that's where Dino did it. He's got to take that instruction manual, follow it to a T as the green flag's high. It's ready to fly. Heat race number 2 is underway. Oh, Pat bouncing in and out a little bit, but he still gets that good run. That's what's important. Able to get in front of Mason Hine, who's trying his best to put up a fight here, not allow that 518 of 100 grand to get on by. Joseph trying to throw that slide job. Just no momentum in these 305s. Really got to keep it straight. You can't break that thing sideways. When you get lose that momentum, well, you're losing all your speed, especially coming off the corner exit as we ride on the nose here of Joseph Grandy, who's possibly got the best show in the house. Oh, Pat Boyd! You saw him trying to counter back underneath, gets into the right rear of Mason Hine, and he had to hold on to it, but the 89 gets his way to the front. He's got 2 laps left to play here at the I-55 Raceway. As we roll through 3 and 4, we're going to see that white flag wave. There's 1 more lap to go. Grandy reeling him in. He's got that fishing pole. He's yanking it. Can he reel in the win here? Final time through 3 and 4. Not going to do it. Mason Hine holds on to win heat race number 2. Hunter Grand, Boyce, Bixler, Murano, Moore, and my long-lost cousin, Blake Chapman. We're going to take a quick break here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network, and we'll be right back with your A&J Custom Creations 305 Sprint Car feature. Stick around. We are back live on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. Look at that top of the charts, 100 grand. Told you. Momentum in the corner of the 518 throughout the past week or so. And I'll tell you, you get momentum on your side as a driver. That right there, I mean, that's worth 2 tenths as far as I'm concerned. And Joe feeling good when he's in the race car and looking even better out there. 11.47, top of the charts. Dino, Brad Waite, the salesman, and Terry Landis, your top 5. Keep an eye on those guys here as we get ready to go play in the clay. 25 laps at the Federated Auto Parts Raceway at I-55. It should be a good one here. Let's see. I don't know if we're going to get Mr. Templeton, but outside of row number 7, the salesman, Blake Chapman, to the inside, the 31 of Beaton. Row 6 to the outside, the 055 of Mr. Wednesday Night, Ryan Moore Sr. To the inside, the 009 of Ted York. Row 5 to the outside, the 033 of Mr. John Morano to the inside, the 789 of Cale Bixler. Row 4 to the outside, Cale's Pops, the Mayor, Steve Bixler to the inside, the 814 of Brad Wade. Row 3 to the outside, the 41 of the Librarian, Pat Boyce to the inside, the 187 of Rick Main. Row 2 to the outside, the 518 of 100 Grand, Joseph Grandy. On the inside, the 161 of the Desert Demon, Terry Landis. Row number 1 for your A&J Custom Creations 305 Sprint Car feature to the outside, the 89 of Mason Hine. And starting on the pole, the 79 of Dean Reynolds as we roll through 3 and 4 for the final time. 25 laps to play in the clay at I-55 Raceway. The green flag is high. It's ready to fly. Let's go play. Dino with a good jump on the bottom, but not good enough. That 89 off to the races, and he's bringing a friend. Joseph Grandy on the outside, already up the P2 in that 518. Man, oh man, what momentum can do, and you're about to witness it here at I-55. These guys battling hard here in the back. John Morano there was in the middle 3 wide. Steve Bixler thought the best of it. He saw his kid, down there, downstairs. You don't want to put him in too much jeopardy. You got to do the smart thing. So the Mayor cracks it out, going to live the race another day. Meanwhile, Blake Chapman stuck in the Hornet's Nest, trying to work his way on by. Oh, Ted York maybe didn't know he was there. No contact made, but Blake maybe going to have to check the shorts here when he gets out of the race car. We're 5 laps in the books here at I-55. Dino mad at what I said, giving it to Joseph already with momentum. Says, Shaggy, I came to play. He's fighting back, but he's got some competition on the inside, and maybe now behind him is Terry Landis peeking down low in that purple machine. Rick Main giving a little bumper to the back of that 161. No arm, no foul. Hey, man, I'm here. You better roll that thing. Blake trying to dice his way on through John Morano, maybe having to check the brakes. Just getting a little uncomfortable in that 033, but keeps it straight. And that's what's important for that 89 of Mason Hine, who is just, he's been listening. I know he's got the broadcast on. He's listening to the war that's going on, and he loves hearing it. He doesn't want me to say, hey, Joseph, he's kind of free now, and maybe he's reeling you in a little bit. He's experimenting, possibly. Slider line 1 and 2. Let's see what it does. Ooh, gains about, 0.002 of a second there, according, or hundredths, excuse me. I'm going a little too far. Let's see, he keeps it right around there, 0.4. So, the past 2 laps, he's made about half a tenth a second. So, he is finding something, but will he have enough time to get around? Dirt racing, they always say you can catch a guy. That's one thing. Passing him is another. And we've got 12 laps left at I-55. Randy, look at that. He's taking a peek here. What kind of run can he get? Does he think about a slide job? No, going to stay right upstairs. We're going right back. Randy trying to reel in that You're trying to reel him in here, but just doesn't have a lot of momentum coming off the bottom of the corner. And Mason Hine holding on, but for how long? Look, Granny Buck brought some friends. Oh, caution flag waves for Mason Hine. We're going to have to ask him where he hid the horseshoe. The 89 timely caution is, oh man, Joseph Grandy gonna be pounding that steering wheel in the 518. Is he finally able to make the move? If we get a caution flag, it's gonna involve the 789 of Cale Bixler. You see, he just gets in that outside wall going down the front stretch. When you do that, you try to turn the race car. It won't, because when you do, the right rear just grabs at the wall and sends you straight. And that's what we see there with Cale Bixler. Kind of a solo accident. Mr. Wednesday Night able to avoid most of it. Now, John Morano, he, was trying to help flip him over. Didn't work, sadly. And I think John now, he may have to go in possibly use a quick repair, but oh my gosh, it is the war's raging up front. You notice those lights were off on the pace car, so we're going to get ready to go back and play. Don't go anywhere, hold that bathroom break. Hold it, because the Steve King Foundation pace car is gone, and the 89 drops the hammer. We're back underway, 9 to 1. Oh, and I don't know if they're going to play nice. Blake Chapman, you see him getting the wall. He's going to lose 2, possibly 3 spots at Pat Boyce. You can get that machine rolling and get on the top side, but we got to go back to the lead. Slide job. Grandy slides up in front. Mason not able to come back underneath and throw one of his own, and now he's going to see the train up top. Got to get up there. He's got to shut the door. Not able to button down the hatch, and Dino, he's going to fit it up there. He's coming. Dean Reynolds, a little contact as they run out of room. Mason floats up, didn't give this 79 much space, and now Rick Main trying to figure out how he can play that ace he's had in the whole time. No room. Everybody's watching him, He's got it hidden up his sleeve, but he's got to be careful. We've only got 4 laps to go, and he's bumping to the top 3. Mason Hyde with a rough last couple laps, but Mr. Momentum, Joseph Grandy, coming to the line. We've got 3 to go. Battle for second. Oh, Rick Main slides up. Dino cuts back underneath. Rick loses the front wing after some contact. 187 hard the wall. Oh, Mason Hyde. He gets in it. Oh, no. Rick Main, Brad Wade. We saw this kind of happen right before our very eyes. Here, let's go watch it one more time. We got to go back a little further than this. So let's go. Does he clip that inside wall? No, he doesn't. Maybe worried himself, though, because he straightened it up, and then he almost gets into the back of Grandy, so he's really got to come out of the throttle. Then he stomps it to get back in it. Kind of steps out loose, and Dino gets into him a little bit. You see that wing fly off, and I imagine we drive it in there, it's just not going to handle the same when you don't have that front wing on it anymore, and just pushes up there in the center, tries to just keep it slow, but gets bumped from behind twice, and then we end up getting our car. A tough break here. It's Joseph Grandy through 3 and 4 for the final time. Steve King Foundation pace car about to dive off. We've got a green-white checkered, baby, at the I-55 Raceway to the plate. Dino looking low, trying to make this out. And where did Blake Chapman come from? The salesman, P2. Blake making his money downstairs, white flag in the air, one more trip around. Can the 518 hold on the salesman? Where did he come from? Final time through 3 and 4. He doesn't have enough, but Grandy does. And momentum looking good on the 518. Brings home the checkered flag for your A&J Custom Creation 305 Sprint Car feature. Blake Chapman, 14th to 2nd for P2. Hell of a run by the kid. And Dino pops, coming home bottom step of the podium. Great run for that 79. Tell you what, if Blake, I don't know if, I don't even know, dang you, Blake. I guess I don't, need to have the M in the M in the N on it. But dang you, Blake. If you do that 2 more times tonight, I can tell you I'm going to have no voice the rest of the weekend for all these shows that I got to call. You've got to take it down a notch, Blake, because that was, oh my gosh. You know, I mean, even for you, that was impressive. We were watching you there. Well, you know what? I need to hear this now. We'll talk to him about it after we bring him up. But first things first, we got to find this man in the 79. Dean Reynolds, it would help if I had the Discord up. We'll pull him up here right as he's talking to Grandy. But, man, Dino, it seemed like you were quick. You just kind of stuck there in P3 for a while. And then, well, right when Grandy kind of makes the move and you're inching your way up there, too, the caution flag waves. And then, man, you had to go back to work. And we saw the contact between you and the 89 there. Nothing you could really do. You know, you run out of room getting that wall. Did the car handle any different after that? Because that was a pretty big shot.
Which time with Mason? I don't even remember. I remember when Ricky threw the slider there and he got up.
You were coming down the front stretch. It was when you were making the pass after Grandy was in the lead already. But you see, that's how maybe it wasn't that big. It looked big for me, but maybe you didn't even notice it.
No, actually, I didn't because when Grandy got the lead there, Mason went underneath, and I don't even remember Mason even touching. So maybe that was a little bit of a netcode thing or what. But the car felt good. I haven't been smooth with the 305s yet. I don't run a lot of 305s, but again, a lot of the other guys don't either. But I'm getting there. You actually do have to feather the throttle a little bit. Because if you get wheel spin in these 305s, they don't have a lot of horsepower for you to get it back, you know, to correct it. And I'm learning that, so I'm learning how to thread it. But no, that was a short stainer when I saw Ricky throw that slider in between me and Joseph. I'm like, whoa, is this even going to stick? And I went to get underneath him, and I think we touched a little bit there, but that's all I could do because it was really tight with that slider there. Was Ricky faster? Yes. Was Joseph faster? Yes. And, of course, he had that damn kid on the bottom and doing Blake Chapman things. You know, with that restart with the green-white checker, I purposely went down. He saw he was behind me. I said, I'm going to go in low in 1 and 2, and maybe it's working. Maybe he's found a lane that we haven't because we've been running the wall. And I went down there and slid right in the middle, and I go, God dang it. Dean, do your thing. Get back up top where you belong.
Yeah, you know, he almost made me say that word that you just did, but with the M and the N on it, too. I yelled at him myself because if he keeps doing this, I'm not going to have a freaking voice left for this weekend. I don't know where he comes from. You know, Deanie, when you go back and watch this, those first couple laps, he couldn't go anywhere. I mean, he got into the inside wall. We were watching him. I thought he was stuck. And then literally out of nowhere, he just shows up there to steal it from you and knock you on that bottom step. But at the end of the day, Dino, man, you know, we got some cars tonight with some good drivers. So a podium, it's, you know, not that it didn't mean much early on, but you know what I'm saying. This one meant something tonight. This was one you had to work for. Am I right?
Oh, no, absolutely. And the track was great. You know, when we were here with I-55 last time, I was pleasantly surprised how well it raced. And it raced well in the 360. So I'm looking forward to that, too. So, you know, you can do slider. You can do a little bit of a cut down. Yeah, the top did get a little bit of dominant lane there, but Blake showed that, you know, you can do the same thing. Now, I think this track races a lot like Huset's. I drive it like I do at Huset's, and you know, and you know how good Blake was at Huset's. You know, my only win in the Hometown Heroes was because Blake, you know, didn't finish up front. He had to, you know, tow and come from the back. So, but yeah, for these type of deals with 25 laps, Blake does need probably a yellow to do it. And when it goes nonstop, it's so hard for him because, you know, Joseph Grandy doesn't suck. Rick Mayne doesn't suck. I mean, Mason Hine, oh my God, look how good he was. Terry Landis. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of good runners here. And but that was good to see the 305s get some guys, and hopefully we can get some more guys to join in because I you know, they have given a little bit more horsepower with the latest updates, so they're a lot of fun to drive. So you know, sprint car guys, I know you got pride, you want to run your 360s and 410s, I get it, but come on in, have some fun.
No, and it, you know, I mean, not that, okay, and this is, I guess, a huge shot at myself, Dino, because, you know, I won the street stock championship, but, you know, it's the way the street stock is to the late model. You know, I mean, you drive them similarly, but, you know, you can be a little more aggressive in them, and I don't know, you can just play around a little bit. And you showed, man, you can have a lot of fun in these things, especially when you get a good group of guys together who'll stay green. So, hell of a job, Dino. Congrats on the third, man. Who you want to thank?
I got to thank the guys from Full Throttle Motorsports, of course, the team I'm part of. We are mostly a modified team, but we got a good dog there, Gavin Chatham. Boy, he's a top line runner, and he helps us out so much. And you can see what Morano's been doing lately. And when Clay runs the sprints, he's very good in them too. So we got a few of us that are having fun with the wings. Also got to thank Gavin and Patrick Spangler. Gavin's helped me out so much lately here. We've been doing a lot of other leagues together, including that No Limit 410 league, which is when I'm out there with 12 different pros, I'm wondering what the heck I'm doing, but having a lot of fun doing that. And Patrick's been mentoring me for, so many years now to try to get me better. And, thanks to him, he's, it's getting a busy time of the year. It's tough for us to do a lot of these iRacing because the weather's getting good. We got real cars to work on, real races to go to, but, it's good to see people there. Thanks to you, Shaggy, for doing the telecast. And thanks to Andy Patton and AJ Custom Creations for sponsoring so we can have you do the telecast. And, thanks to Jeff Barker and Jack Hitt and Bill Calder and Coast to Coast and, keeping the league going and, getting some new ideas. And then can't be remiss by not saying, hey, get signed up for Super Dirt Modified Week. Great charity, $50 to win each division, May 6th through 8th. Let's get 50 cars for that.
Yeah, man, that would be awesome. Marty and we would have so much fun with 50 cars. Oh my gosh, that would be a great week, Dino.
Yeah, let's hope, and then let's have some fun doing that. So, all right, go talk to the kid and go talk to Mr. Grandy. Congrats to them; they earned it.
Yeah, man, hell of a run. I'll be rooting for you. You're definitely. I know you don't want to hear this, but you're one of the guys to watch out for now in those 360s. So give them hell, Dino.
We will. Thank you, man.
Dean Reynolds, good P3, but got it stolen from him by this kid who, Blake, I yelled at you on the broadcast. Dang it, you got to stop starting in the back, dude. I watched you those first couple laps, okay? You were stuck, so I quit watching you. Watching the hard battling up front, and then out of nowhere, there comes a 20 on a restart on the bottom, passing for P2. How the hell do you do it night in and night out, Blake? I count you out, and you just find a way to stick it to me, man. I mean, watching this restart, okay, now I'm watching it. I mean, that final one, you're even back there a little bit before the green-white checkered. You get into the wall a little bit on that second-to-last restart. So you lose one or two spots there. I mean, you had to keep digging yourself out. How do you do it?
Yeah, tonight was especially tough. It's always tough in these 305s because there's not as much power and, it kind of levels the playing field a little bit. But, yeah, like you said, those first couple laps, I was just stuck. And I could have tried to force something, but just kind of waited for opportunities to come to me a little bit. And at the bottom wasn't great early on, and I didn't know if it was going to be great late. The very final restart, I figured Dean and Grandy would both go to the top, so my plan was I was just going to dive down to the bottom and hopefully, get a good enough of a run to pressure Dean to get second there. But Dean went low, but fortunately he left a lane for us down there, and we were able to sneak around him, and a couple more laps, might even had a shot for the win. So the bottom really came in there those last couple of laps. But pretty racy track overall. Guys are running the middle, the top. It was pretty even from the middle part of that race, which allowed us to use different lanes to get up front and come away with the second place run.
Yeah, that leads me into my next question here, Blake, because you're one of those guys, you like to work the bottom, and, it's not very often. I mean, I guess in the 305s a little more so. You kind of get that middle line that's racy. How much more, you got to really be up on your toes, don't you? Be up on that wheel when you're on the bottom, because, I mean, we saw you multiple times. You just get a big run that you probably didn't even know you were going to get, and you find yourself on the bottom 3 wide. I mean, how nerve-wracking is that?
Yeah, it's pretty tough. It's a little hilly on the bottom. I want to say there's a little hill right by towards the wall, so you can't get right next to the wall very comfortably. So yeah, it's really tough running that bottom, and you always got to watch it come out, especially when you're 3 wide. But I wouldn't mind running the top here, but that's kind of where everyone was. So you just go down to the bottom and hope that bottom side comes in. And fortunately for us, it did there towards the end.
Now, I know, Blake, I know we've got a, you want to stay true to your word here. You want to keep starting in the back, but we've seen a little, if we're looking at the charts, it's starting to climb a little bit, our entries. If we get back to, the normal Wednesday nights by the end of the year where we're possibly running a B main, are you still willing to risk parking it in the heats? Are you going to be willing to run a B main if you need to?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I would do that. I think I'd run the heat races for sure. I hope we can get back up to those high car counts that we used to have Wednesday nights. These judging out these first couple weeks, I don't think we're gonna get that, but
I've got to put
I
it
don't
out there,
mind.
Blake. I've got to put it out there. I've just got to put it out there in the air for our sanity here. It's got to come back for us.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'd love that for that to happen, but maybe there's schedule conflicts with most guys in the league, whatever it is. But 10, 15 cars, I'm comfortable starting in the back and just being patient and work my way up towards the front. So, hopefully that we can get just one spot better here in the 360s.
Yeah, man. Well, we'll be rooting for you. I expect to see you on that bottom late in the feature once again. But until then, man, just in case, you know the deal. I think you got some people to thank on that ride.
Yeah, you know it, Shaggy. I got to thank the parents for watching. I got to thank all the guys down at KSR, especially Terry for running with me every Wednesday night. I got to thank Preston at Epsilon Sprint Wraps. I got to thank Andy at AJ Custom Creations for sponsoring this division. And of course, I got to thank Galen's Gourmet Popcorn. They got some of the best stuff out there. You can head over to their website. And don't forget to use code CART, that's C-A-R-T, at checkout for 15% off some of their very delicious popcorn. I got to thank Steve at Steve's Custom Golf Clubs. And of course, I got to thank you for putting this broadcast on every week, Shaggy.
Well, hey, man, impressive drive through the field there. Not easy in these 305s. I know they're maybe the quote-unquote easier car to drive, but if you're in a room full of people who know what they're doing, it's much harder to pass in these than the 360s. You know that as well as I do. So hell of a run, man. That's impressive. You stole that thing right at the end. Good run, man. Hopefully we talk to you after the 360s.
Yeah, I hope so. Thanks, Shaggy.
Blake Chapman, big run there, 14th to 2nd. Couldn't get to this guy, though, who, Joe, I told him, I warned him, this has been, maybe 2 weeks now. I mean, this is, you get on the racetrack, and if I'm up in this booth, you win. I mean, how are you feeling? It could be a 358. It could be a sprint car. Hell, it could be a late model. You don't care. I mean, you just like winning, right?
Yeah, this is, I think, my third week in a row in these things, and I don't think I ever went 3 weeks in a row coast to coast with anything. So, yeah, obviously these things, it's key to start up front. So,
well, yeah, but that's what I was going to get to. You weren't graced with that. Okay, I know you started towards the front, yes, but Mason, got that good start, and as soon as you go to make that move, man, that caution flag flies. What's going through your head? Because, I mean, you made that pass back pretty quick, but I'm going to be honest with you, Joe. I thought it would be a fight. I thought you'd struggle. You made it look a lot easier than it probably should have. But what's going through your head there under that caution?
Yet again, because it seems like every time I pass somebody, a yellow comes out. It happened twice yesterday to 358s, and that's something I'm used to. So, wasn't too surprised. I was just biding my time to hopefully throw a slider and get by him, and this came quicker than expected on the next restart.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I know you're focused on what's going out of that front end, but when you're there in second riding, and, I could tell you're being really patient, third and fourth starting to reel you in, are you aware of that? Is that kind of forcing you to make your move? You got some quick guys coming up behind you?
I got my relative on, so I noticed if they're catching me, but I don't really pay too much attention to it. It's hard to pass in here regardless, so someone had to throw a slider, and if they do, just cut down anyway. So I was prepared for what was going to come if it did.
Well, man, you ended up getting out to a big lead. You didn't need to worry about it. That was a hell of a run, man. You really had to fight hard for this one. Congratulations, Joe. Who you want to thank?
Thanks. I'd like to thank all the guys at Coast to Coast Sim Sports, Catalytic Recovery, the Jewel Say Speed Shop, the girlfriend Olivia, all the guys at Coast to Coast, and of course you, man, for doing the broadcast. I think you're the best down here.
Well, hey, man, I really appreciate that. We're going to come play some more. You're going to run a 360 around a little bit?
Yeah, I'll be doing the 360s for sure, not the midgets, though.
All right, well, you might be talking to him again here in Victory Lane if the momentum stays. Good luck, Joe. We'll be rooting for you, man.
All right, thanks.
$100,000, bringing home the checkered flags here in the A&J Custom Creations 305 sprint cars. And it was not an easy one for him. We're not allowed to start this next race until 7:45 anyway. So I'm going to be honest with you. Joe. That's awesome. So glad. But okay, so Blake was already in third. Okay, I didn't want to. Thought maybe he restarted in fourth. I wanted to watch this kid's green white checkered attempt here. So he just hooks up on the bottom. Dino leaves him plenty of room there through 3 and 4. That's where we kind of picked it up there, right as Blake was making the move. He gets it to stick on the bottom in 1 and 2. Now, you can see he catches Joe on corner entry. Joe's kind of playing it safe, though, middle of the racetrack. And a couple more laps, though. Blake, he's in a rocket ship tonight in that 20 machine. Good run, but all in all, Joseph Grandy takes home the checkered flag, and that means we're going to take a short break here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. Stick around, and we'll be right back with your Flatline Racing Bodies 360 Sprint Car event here at the I-55 Raceway.
It's time for another edition of RSN Trackside, powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group on Rock Sports Network. Gets on the champion, trying to be a
bit of a hiatus, so let's get right when we were talking about it.
outpouring of love was amazing. These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized, no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive. So having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
I was involved in a pretty gnarly sprint car crash. Found out my brain was swelling and bleeding. Pelvic bone was broken. I had 2 cracked vertebrae on my back, and I was in the ICU a little over a week. The Steve King Foundation reached out to my parents. We received a donation from them. Immediately, they started me on what's called neurofeedback, and insurance did not cover the neurofeedback appointments. So we received another donation from the Steve King Foundation. It really helped a lot, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to the Steve King Foundation for everything that they have done for me. This last Sunday, I got to turn laps in my modified here. That was my first laps back in a race car since the accident, and I truly believe that if it wasn't for the Steve King Foundation, I wouldn't be able to do that or be where I'm at today.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
Well, shoot the messenger. I jinxed us with those, gonna get some more cars. Some more cars showed up there for the 305, which I would have never, ever expected. Obviously, one of them were Brandon Templeton. He didn't race. Probably had something come up. Still less guys here. No Cale Bixler. I'll have Cale this time. See, I'm terrible with this. I don't know who else we don't have, to be honest with you. We have Mason. We have Dean. I'm bad at that. Yeah, one of you guys out there, you might know. You can cheat. You can rewind. I can, look at it while I'm watching, so you can always cheat and rewind right in the chat box who isn't here. If you feel like it. But if not, we're rolling over to qualifying anyway as time to go play in the dirt a little bit at I-55 Raceway. We're going to watch Bob DeGood here, lap number 1. Not from that camera. We're going to go up here. Bob rolling the bottom here through 1 and 2. We're going to slide up, catch a little bit of grip there. You see that second cushion developing there in the center of the quarter. What's it look like coming out of 4? We see purple for the 89. That means it's time to hit him with the hind. Mason Hine at the top of the charts. Got that thing screaming, but Steve Bixler, the mare, purple, green. Where's that put him? The mare, P2, Steve Bixler. Looking good in that 75, screaming. What can he do? Can he pick up time? Steve Bixler not going to pick up time, and he's going to fall down the charts because Rick Main, Joseph Grandy, coming out of nowhere with banger laps with the salesman. The usual suspect, we should have known. Galen's Popcorn on the top of the charts. Can he hold on to it? No! Brad Waite. 10-5-1 for Brad Waite, who Blake Chapman, he improved his second time around with that 10-5-2. Just not enough is the 814 throwing hammers out here. Top of the charts, and now you put an eye on that 7th and 8th spot. Dino nailing it. Going to start on the pole. Heat race number 2, Steve Bixler. He'll be on the pole of your next race here that we get ready to watch. But that's going to do it for qualifying. All 11 drivers have put in a time. Brad Waite, Blake Chapman, Mason Hine, Rick Main, Joseph Grandy. Your top 5, and this all, of course, brought to you by Flatline Racing Bodies. They're they're bringing you the rest of the evening here with the 360 sprint cars and the midget sprint cars. So big shout out here to Flatline Racing Bodies and, of course, A&J Custom Creations. Picking up the 305, our last event you just watched. But let's take a look at the starting grid. Heat race number 1, rounding out the field to the outside of row 3, the 161 of the Desert Demon, Terry Landis, to the inside, the 7 of Bob DeGood. Row 2 to the outside, the 814 of Brad Waite, to the inside, the 89 of Mason Hyde. Row 1 for heat race number 1. Winner starts on the pole for tonight's feature. The 518 of 100 grid. Joseph Grandy starts on the outside, but on the pole, the 75 of the mare, Steve Bixler. And I actually have the mayor's autograph. He was kind enough to send me a Clarence, Iowa t-shirt. Now, whenever Steve, ends up going from small little town mayor to probably being the president of the United States, I've got something y'all wish you were gonna have. You had. You may not want to act jealous right now, but you want it. I got it. It's in the closet. Green flag's high. It's ready to fly. We've got 6 to play. Heat race number 1 is underway. The mayor's got to slide up, got to shut down that valve, turn off the 518's momentum, because 100 grand's got a crap ton of it here. He's looking on the outside through 1 and 2. Joseph Grandy trying to do the dance. Can he walk the walk here? 4 laps to go. The mayor holding on, looking good. That's 75. I told you, red, white, and blue America to his core. Look at that thing. Possibly our next presidential nominee. Not sure of his party affiliation, but the mayor has my vote. 2 laps to play. Oh, you're at I-55. You saw Grandy gets into the back of Steve a little bit. He has to check up. And that may be what the doctor ordered. The mayor takes holds it off. White flag in the air. 1 more lap to go. 100 grand battling for P2. The mayor all by himself through 3 and 4. He sees that checker flag and he takes it. He wins heat race number 1. Brad Waite P2. 100 grand 3rd. Hit him with the hind 4th. The good 5th. And the Desert Demon rounds out the field. As we take a look at the starting grid here, heat race number 2, rounding out the field all alone in row 3 to the inside, the 009 of Ted York. Row 2 to the outside, not going to see Blake Chapman take the grid. To the inside, the 187 of Rick Main. Row number 1 for heat race number 2 to the outside, Mr. Wednesday night in the 055, Brian Moore Sr. And starting on the pole, the 79 of Dino Dean Reynolds. See what happens here. Only 4 cars, no Blake. They're coming home with a top 4 here, heat race number 2. You just don't want to maybe add any enemies to that list, so you got to get through this as clean as you can here. Try to behave. No, maybe a little drama between the 187 and the 79 and the 305 feature. I saw Rick maybe there in front of Dino at the end of the race. Let him know he wasn't too happy with the contact, but either way, the green flag's high and it's ready to fly. We've got 6 to play in the I-55 Raceway. Your second and final heat race is underway. Dino trying to scream on the bottom. But Mr. Wednesday night looking good up top, side by side. Getting to the 55. The Killer Bee leads lap number 1. That yellow machine rocking it here at the I-55 Raceway while Ted York trying to go to work on Rick Main. This is, don't know too much about Ted, but he's hanging in there right now, and you wouldn't be shocked to see either of those top 3 win a feature here for your hometown heroes in the 360 sprint cars. So add Ted York to that list here, looking good, keeping him right in his sights. But we're running out of time, and Rick Main able to finally complete that pass. He's got his sights set on the 55. He's running out of time. White flag in the air. Big move. Slide job, 1 and 2. Brian Moore Sr. cuts back under. Mr. Wednesday Night has one more set of corners. Final time through 3 and 4. Checkered flag wave. Mr. Wednesday Night brings it home. Rick Main, Reynolds, York, and Chapman round out the field. And we step away for a quick break, and we'll be right back with your Flatline Racing Bodies 360 Sprint Car feature. Stick around. We're back live on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. A little over 15 seconds here, and we're going to go play in the clay 25 laps in the 360 sprint cars. And boy, oh boy, is it going to be a good one. Rick Main looking good, top of the charts. Mr. Wednesday Night right there in the designated. A close third with Blake Chapman and Dean Reynolds rounding out the top 5. Lots of speed out there, top 8. Separated by 1/10 of a second. As we're going to get ready to do the dance here. 25 laps at the Federated Auto Parts Raceway at I-55. Let's take a look at your starting lineup. And we don't have that on the road. We won't. We're going to go down 2 more. Rounding out the field, the 161 of the Desert Demon, Terry Landis. In row 6, row 5 to the outside, the salesman Blake Chapman. To the inside, the 7 of Bob the Good. Row 4 to the top shelf, that 009 of Ted York. To the inside, the 89 of Mason High. Row 3 to the top shelf, the 79 of Dean Reynolds. To the inside, the 518 of 100 grand, Joseph Grandy. Row 2 to the top shelf, that 187 of Rick Main. To the inside, the 814 of Brad Wade. Row 3 to the top shelf, that 187 of Rick Main. To the inside, the 814 of Rick Main. To the inside, the 814 of Brad Wade. Row 4 to the top shelf, that 187 of Rick Main. To the inside, the 814 of Brad Wade. As we're going to get ready to do the dance here. 25 laps Row 1 for your Flatline Racing Bodies 360 Sprint Car feature at the Federated Auto Parts Raceway at I-55 to the outside. The 055 of Mr. Wednesday Night, Brian Moore Sr. And starting on the pole, the 75, the Mayor, Steve Bixler. I'm telling you, this is going to do wonders for the Mayor and his soon-to-come presidential campaign run if he could bring home the checkered flag here at the I-55 Raceway. But the man's got some dogs behind him, and they are trying to get a piece of that bone. Can the 75 hold him off? Can Brian Moore Sr. take advantage of the outside starting position and maybe get a big run through 1 and 2 and look to take the lead and never look back as we roll through 3 and 4? Steve King Foundation pace car off. The green flag is high. It's ready to fly. We've got 25 laps to play. And Brian Moore Sr. wasted no time to the lead early. Can he keep the steam off of 4? Yes, give Brian Moore the lead. The Mayor trying to put up a fight here. He's coming back, not going away. Not going to be easy for Mr. Wednesday Night. The Mayor floating up. Oh, not able to get there. He's going to get up in front of the 187 of Rick Mayne, though, who takes a peek to the inside. Maybe a little contact. Brad Wake had to check up. Dino looking to get in, and oh my God, it is a storm. Back here, 3rd through 6th, contact there with Rick Mayne and Steve Bixler. And we've got a sizable pileup on the entry to 3. Big wreck here at the I-55 Raceway, and Joseph Grandy, he's involved as well in that 518. So I think Grandy trying to maybe figure out a way on by there. There we go. The Mayor doing the right thing. Didn't want to back up in front of traffic. Let's take a look here so we can see it. We saw where it kind of kicked off. So there, they made some contact coming out of the corner. Just guys fighting for the same real estate, and then they're just so crossed up. Joseph Grandy never sees it coming. Just the door slammed shut in his face. Hard hit. I mean, you see a lot of guys. Mason Hine involved in that. Lots of guys taking damage here early on. And, well, that's going to help out a kid who drives that car on the outside of row number 2. He couldn't sneak up on us this time. Survived the accident, moves up into the outside of row 2. 21 laps to go. We got Blackjack this time by as the green flag waves. And Blake Chapman looking to bring home the bank here. This is going to be the best shot he's had in a long time. After doing these back row challenges, unbelievable. Up to 3rd already, Blake Chapman. Here he comes. And, you know, there should be a way to pull a spark plug out of that thing. That should be the next thing they do. Make him run down the cylinder. Because this kid is unbelievable to the bottom, putting the fight on the old timer in the 79. Dean Reynolds, what can he do here? He loses it at the line. Blake Chapman doing it his own way here at I-55. Nobody does it on the bottom in a sprint car like that 20. Look at the runoff too, side by side. Blake Chapman, he's going to get it at the line this time, I think. No, he's not. Brian Moore Sr. putting up one heck of a fight, but advantage Blake this time. Bottom through 1 and 2, so strong. Give it to the 20. Blake leads the way. It took him 10 laps to get up to the front. I mean, my, oh my, what do we got to do? As Dean Reynolds uses the Blake Chapman line, he's feeling it. He's maybe getting a tip or two here from the kid. As we ride along with Dean Reynolds, you can see just trying to manipulate that car, get it right under the shine. He's not maybe as low as Blake is, pretty close. But, you know, I mean, you're really flirting with that inside wall, so you've got to be willing to dance with the devil. You're going to do that. But a guy who contact sent him to the back, he's already back up to fourth. Rick Main, as the caution flag flies for the second time at the I-55 Raceway. Joseph Grandy involved in this one as well, I believe. Maybe started with Ted York. No, it starts with no, yeah, okay. So not, I was kind of glancing at the remote here. I mean, he's definitely there, okay? But this is one where I'm sure, you know, I'm not taking credit for anything, but Grandy would be the first person to admit I've been hard on him. I mean, some of these replays are saying, hey, you know, maybe it's time you just back out. You live to race another day. And this is one of those moments. So York, I know he's there, but barely. I mean, you've got 8 inches there. And, I mean, Grandy's kind of been running that same line the whole time. You know it's coming. I mean, you're not battling for the lead. There's a time and a place for it. Well, you know, that tears up 2 race cars there, so not going to help his campaign. May hurt Blake's here as we tighten back up the field. Get ready to go. 11 to go. Back underway at I-55. Oh, Brian Moore Sr., you saw he was trying to get that big run on Dino. He had to check if there was no room. And now Rick Main loving the light upstairs. So much room on the outside. And that 187 gonna try to make it work here as he takes a peek. Inches closer to the 79 of Dean Reynolds. They're side by side at the line. Bottom not paying off like it did earlier in 1 and 2. This may be the warning call here to Blake Chapman. Now he does it better than anybody else. But here comes Rick Main on the outside. He's got 8 laps left up to P2. Can he catch the man in the 27 laps to go? Man, guys beating down the wall here, you see it. Not safe right now. It is not safe. At I-55, Steve Bixler there with a good send on the bottom, trying to look under the 89 of Hine. Can't do it. Got the 518 in the wall on the outside. He does a good job of keeping it up there, staying out of the way, letting the guys go. For 5 laps. Blake Chapman has not seen this lead decrease. He's doing a good job. He's got pace, staying right around that 8/10 of a second mark. Rick Main, he's trying. He did cut it down a little bit there. It's down to 6/10 at the line. Rick Main, though, running out of time. 3 laps to go as Terry Landis tries to continue to make the bottom work, but man, that's a battle that's almost not worth the fight here. No contact with the 814 of Brad Waite, no caution, they continue, and Blake Chapman rolls through 3 and 4. He wants this white flag wave, it does. We've got 1 more lap to go. The salesman started in 10th, up 9 spots in 10 laps. What do we got to do to hold the kid down? Nothing. He brings home the checkered flag at I-55 Raceway. Rick Main, P2, and Dean Reynolds rounds out the podium. Mr. Wednesday night, oh so close, P4. Steve Bixler with a good run inside the top 5. There to round it out. Good run there. We had saw with a couple laps to go. Steve Bixler, that was at 75 who I highlighted with that slide job. So Steve really hooked it up there at the end, able to show the pace in that race car, and good on him. That's a good run there for the driver of the 75. And now we're going to get ready to interview our top 3 here. We'll give Dino a minute or two. I took forever to interview him the last time, because I didn't realize I had Discord closed, so he's not going to be used to me pulling him up this quick. Let's grab him here. Dino, long time no talk, man. You know, I know it's not the spot you want on that podium, but still, man, they add up, and they do a wonder to the confidence. How we feeling?
No, I mean, I got stuck in the sucky hole there in the heat. It wasn't good to start in the bottom, and the thing, they changed the gear. Well, we were all talking about it. They went with a 486 gear for the race setup here, and I don't know if somebody messed up and put a 410 set in here or what, but it was a learning curve, so you couldn't get any runs to do any sliders or anything on the start, so I had to stay on the bottom, and I just watched everyone go around the outside, so I finished third in the heat, and then started sixth in the feature. Got a little lucky when Ricky and Steven got together there. I was in the right place at the right time to get in the second, and then I thought the top was going to be the dominant lane like it kind of was in the 305s, and I saw Blake go down low, and I said, you know what? I got to learn sometimes, somehow, some way. I went down there, and I felt very good. I was actually staying right with him a little bit, and, he was getting on me, not quite a tenth, but maybe half a tenth a lap, but I was hanging there, and I think if the race stayed green, I probably would have hung on a second by running the bottom, but then it was starting to get a little slicker, and I was wondering if that top was going to come, and then I always look at the relative. I didn't look at the mirror to see where Ricky was, and then the next thing I know, I hear him in my right ear, and then I looked up and I said, well, I can't go up now. I basically said, let me see what I can do in the bottom, see if I can get him back, and then maybe do a slider. But you just couldn't get enough oomph off the corner with that gear, so I couldn't get ahead of him. So I just waited for him to go by, and then I went up top, and then I was going to stay there.
Now,
But
Dino,
I'll take third.
I'm really
Take
not
third.
playing dumb here. I swear to God, I have a VRS subscription. I am a load and go on the setup. Now, with that number, are we turning too many RPMs or not enough? What's the complaint there with that setup? That truly is, I'm showing my ignorance, man. I'm a load and go. I really don't know.
No, that's not enough. So my complaint with the 360 sets was they always had too much gear here, and you were hitting a chip going down the straightaway. And it's been like that for the last 2-3 seasons. That's why actually a lot of people don't like running 360 fixed, because the gearing's all off, and you're just getting so assy going down the straightaways. And when the track slickens up, you can't blow it up enough. So evidently with this patch, either the one they did today or what, I didn't look to see what they did. They must have changed the racing setups. The qualifying set had a lot of gear. You were hitting a chip on the qualifying. But when you put the race setup in, it was 486 17 gallons. I'm like, holy crap. For this track, that's not enough. You want to be 530, 540 in gear here. Easy. And so it took a while to get used to, and you had to learn all over again. And, I think it caught some of us, and some of us, it played in their wheelhouse.
Well, hey, able to adjust there on the fly. That's, it does help when, the guy in front of you and behind you, is in that same thing. So you got to all learn together. And you were able to do that tonight, Dino. Bring home another podium back-to-back. Got to be feeling good, man. Who you want to thank?
We thanked everyone before. I just want to thank Flatline Racing Bodies for sponsoring the 360. So, you can do the telecast, Shaggy. And, congratulations to the kid and to Mr. Ricky Main. Ricky's no slouch in these sprint cars. He's on Team Inferno, and that's a sprint car rich team. And, there's a lot of races that we've battled, but many a times I follow him a lot, and don't mind following him because I learned, and you can tell he was fast tonight. So congratulations to those two. So we'll let them do the talking this time, Shaggy.
Well, yeah, but before you go, I'll say it again. May 6th through May 8th, make sure you sign up, even if you're not driving. And I know we've got some loyal listeners out there. This is a wonderful cause, So it goes to not just military members, Dino. I learned a lot in that video I played for you guys,
Yes.
EMS workers, that's pretty neat, man. Any family that, really needs it, they'll, reach out and help. That's a wonderful cause. I'm glad we're doing that.
Yeah, when you go to the Super Dirt Modified week, there's two links. There's one to enter, and then you're supposed to donate $15 to do the two divisions. It's 10 for one, but do the 15. All that money does go to charity. But if you're just not going to race and want to donate to the charity, you can click the donation link. It's a PayPal link, and you can donate any amount of money you want. And I'm sure some of the guys that finish in the the money paying positions will probably donate it right back. But yeah, if you just want to read up on Honor House, honorhouse.ca, and you say, you know what, it's a great charity. I'll give them 25, 50, $100. You can do that as well right through those links.
Yeah, and obviously, you could reach out to, me or whoever, but they are looking for sponsorship on that thing too. So if you, maybe want to give away money a certain lap, do anything like that, we'd love to, have you out there advertising with us. But Dino, like you said, man, it's about these two guys. So I'll kick you out of here. Hell of a run. Are we going to run the midgets at all?
No, I don't do the little people, but But I do want to say something, Shaggy. You mentioned it in private things that you're going to do the telecast with Marty and Robert, and all 3 nights you're going to try to fill in. And you said I don't want any money. Whatever money I'm going to get paid, donate it to charity. So I want to thank you for that, because you won't say it and let other people know, but I want to say thank you.
Well, no problem, Dino. You know me by now, man. I love these things, and getting to call it with Marty, it's that's free. Really, I should have to pay Marty. I mean, I get to absorb that knowledge from him, so it's a free teaching session.
Oh, you guys are awesome. I mean, you're two of the best, and the enthusiasm you guys bring to we call it a simulation, but quite frankly, it's a game. But a lot of us take it seriously. I think you saw 12 to 13 guys here to take it seriously, and we put on a good show for you, and you got a lot of enthusiasm for it.
Well, hey, man, I appreciate that. Looking forward to talking to you again here later in the week. Good run tonight.
Thanks, brother.
Dean Reynolds bringing home P3, and now we get to bring up the man Rick, I can say it for you because I know maybe you won't. If this thing's 30 laps, we might be talking to you later. You found something up top at the end, but it just took you too long to get up there after having to battle your way back through after the contact. What's going through your head, man? You were quick.
Yeah, I don't know, man. The gear was weird, so I kind of was just like wide open up there and praying that it would stick each lap. And yeah, had I maybe found it a little sooner or not been so far back after that accident, which I just looked at, that definitely was not intentional. So I'm sorry, sorry, Bixler. I didn't mean to say something. I was just mad.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely. I mean, you could see you guys fighting over the same real estate, and then the iRacing kind of takes over, rather than you guys just touching. And, maybe a little wheel hop for him. You decides to merge your cars into one. And, well, you guys really didn't stand much of a chance after that. But, Rick, once again, I mean, every time you show up, I've told you this. I mean, you're always towards the front. And what is it about these sprint cars? I mean, that you're able to, in a fixed setup, nonetheless, that much more impressive. You're out there, same stuff everybody else, but you're able to manipulate them and, kind of work them to where you need to pick your way back through the field. How do you do that night in and night out?
Well, honestly, I stuck with just sprint cars. I really wanted to run everything at first. I decided I was going to get really good at one car. I wouldn't describe myself as really good yet, but decent enough to where I've now ventured into a couple other cars. And like I run the modifieds with you guys. I'm not very good in those yet, but
Join the club.
It's helped me, get a little better though. Even when I get back in these, I feel some things that I wouldn't feel before. So I would say starting with one car and really focusing on that, and then opening up from there. I mean, I only ran sprint cars for probably a little over a year.
Now, do you think that gives you, obviously I'm kind of the opposite. I don't know. I can't say the word I want to say, but I was kind of drove the wimpy street stocks. So you probably get the P word that I was thinking about, but hammer down.
Yeah.
That's what I was good at. And, it took me a while to venture into the sprint cars, and man, it killed me throttle control for the longest time. Do you think you starting out with, arguably the hardest car on dirt, you think that gives you an advantage over everybody else when you try to play with other things?
I don't know the answer to that, Shaggy, because
it does. I'll say it for you.
I'm not very good in low power cars. The whole like keeping the momentum and keeping the car as straight as a NASCAR, it feels like to me. I struggle with. I mean I did okay in a 305, but that's because I-55 is arguably my best racetrack. But outside of that, I'm horrible in low power cars.
Well, I mean, I'd like to see you out there and some of them sometime really test that strategy, because I got a feeling you'd be a little better than you think you are, man. But at the end of the day, only able to come home with P2 tonight, only 25 laps. We know a couple extra laps story may have been different, but hell of a run tonight, Rick. Congratulations on the great rebound, man. Who you want to thank?
Yeah, I got to thank all the guys over at Hinkle Homes for sponsoring us. The guys at Inferno for helping me get better day in day out. The guys at EPI for sponsoring us as well. And I want to give a shout out to, Blake. He runs hard every week, and, he's even willing to give a little tips and stuff when you ask him. He's not one of those guys that's like, figure it out. So shout out to him. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to Coast, man. You guys do great stuff here.
Well, hey, appreciate it, Rick. Can't wait to talk to you again, man. Hopefully it's here soon.
Yep.
That's Rick Main bringing home P2. And now we're going to bring up the man of the hour here. 10 freaking laps it took you to go from 10th to 1st. That's too soon, Blake. You're not allowed to do that. I know, obviously, the caution flag helped, but, man, you were on rails tonight. What is it with you in that bottom here? I mean, obviously, through 3 and 4, you're struggling. You know that. You'd admit that. You're trying to keep up. But the way you hit 1 and 2 when we come to this place is unbelievable, man. How do you find that grit?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't know if I was going to be able to run the bottom in this race, honestly, because the gears they had in this car, I think they put the 410 gears in by accident because it was like driving a 305 all over again. These things didn't feel like they had very much power. But yeah, like you said, that caution definitely helped. Terry was behind me, and I'm like, Terry, iRacing's telling me I'm in 9th, but there's only 3 cars ahead of me, so we went from 9th to 4th there after that caution. That helped a lot, and I knew that I had to get going early on that bottom if I wanted a shot to win it, because there was a lot of grip down there, and I knew as soon as it started to get a little bit slick that it was going to go away just because of the gearing in the car. So, yeah, we got up to the front. Fortunately, I didn't think we were going to be able to get Brian there, but we were able to get him, fortunately, with enough grip down there, and then we were able to take more of a wide angle into the corners after that, get more comfortable down there, and then it started to go away, and we went up top, and I could see Rick was closing a little bit, but I didn't want to push it too hard and get to the wall and give him a chance because there wasn't enough laps really for him to make a push at us, so we were able to just keep it smooth up top and sail to a win.
Yeah, man, every single one of you guys mentioned that gear, and I know how you like to run the bottom. Does that mean we had to be a little more aggressive on the throttle than we're used to try to keep that power up, or how did we play
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I was scared to lift at all, really. I just wanted to throw it in there, try to use a brake a little bit to get in there without getting off the throttle too much. Obviously, there was some times where I did have to get off the throttle to get it into the corner. And, Dean was telling me in the waiting room that he was just, sitting back, trying to learn. I'm like, well, I hope you're not taking notes because I had to drive this thing completely different from how I usually do when I'm running the bottom. So, yeah, it was definitely tricky tonight, definitely a challenge, but super happy we were able to get it done.
So I know, normally you guys, I'm, I struggle. I'm like, I hit that wing button. I park it as far back as I can when I start to get scared out there. But with the gearing tonight, that can't even be a thought, is it? You keep that thing forward the whole time?
Yeah, actually, every time I run a sprint car now, pretty much, it's not much of a thought for me because early on running the sprint cars, I
that
knew it
hurts
around
so
all the
bad to
time.
hear. Oh, that
But
hurts so bad to hear.
Monday night, Wednesday nights, unless I run the 410s, I usually just been running the 410 fixed setups. But other than that, I just keep it all the way forward the entire time and just let her eat.
Oh my gosh, you have no idea how bad that hurts me, Mike. Because I know the speed I'm costing myself hearing that. But man, I just don't understand. I mean, you're so smooth. Doesn't matter where you start, you find a way to bring it to the front, and you did it once again. That's a hell of a run, Blake. Congratulations. Who you want to thank, kid?
Yeah, I got to thank the parents for watching. Of course, I got to thank the guys down at KSR, especially Terry, for running with me every week. I got to thank Preston at Epsilon Sprint Wraps, Andy at AJ Custom Creations. Got to thank Flatline Racing Bodies for sponsoring this division. And of course, I got to thank Steve at Steve's Custom Golf Clubs. He's got grips, shafts, anything you need. If you can't find him online, you can catch him at the Masters or any other major tournament. Of course, I gotta thank Galen's Gourmet Popcorn. They got some of the best stuff out there. Racing season's picking up, and there's nothing better to snack on while you're watching a race than Galen's Gourmet Popcorn. And head over to their website, and don't forget to use code CART, that's CRT, at checkout for 15% off some of the very delicious popcorn. And of course, I got to thank you for putting this broadcast on, Shaggy.
Well, hey, I appreciate that laugh there. That one on Steve gets me every time. I got to start muting myself when you do that. But congratulations on the big win, Blake. And, man, hopefully we talk to you again here after the midgets. Good luck, brother.
Thanks, Shaggy.
Blake Chapman, 2 for 2 so far tonight on the podium. A P2 and a win as we take a quick break here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. But don't go anywhere. we've still got your Flatline Racing Bodies midget sprint cars up next. So plenty of racing to go. And I hope you're here to join me here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. Stick around. I'm a terrible person, and I just realized when I went to the bathroom, I played the wrong video. So, you know what? No more videos. We're going to cut this down early because I don't know where it would be. I'm not going to make them wait longer. My apologies. That is on me. I have those scenes named too similarly. Rookie mistake. Rookie mistake. Here's everything all up and going. Put my overlay up. Once again, my apologies. Normally we'd still be in commercial right now. Sorry, I gotta bring that back up. And now we will make it go back away. And we should get ready to be racing here in the midgets and that. Yeah, look at that. Checkered flag waves. Gentleman Jack Hit wasting no time. He's ready to go play around. Oh, we got a Stephen Goldner sighting. He didn't put a lap in. He's the 8th driver. So see if Goldner decides to race. That would be pretty cool. See who pulls out on the racetrack here first for qualifying. Going to be Ted York. Here, that 009. Let's see what he can do. First lap around. Coming down the backstretch here. Looking pretty smooth. But Brandon Templeton, purple sector 1. We expect that 31 to get the pole. He is always quick. Let's see if he does that. Brandon Templeton, welcome to the top of the charts in the 31. But Blake Chapman might have something to say about this. Maybe Ted York, actually. Purple sector 1. Green sector 2 for the 009. And he does. He answers the bell. Ted York. Oh, making his presence known, saying, hey, maybe I'm not a sprint car driver there, Shaggy. I can wield a midget. And he is doing just that. Top of the charts is Stephen Goldner. Rounding out the field here. So your top half for Ted York, Brandon Templeton, Blake Chapman, and Bob DeGood. Your top 4 out of the 8. And we're going to get set here for heat racing. I would imagine it's going to be 2 heat races, 4 apiece. We'll see. We'll all find out together here whenever they roll into Flatline Racing Body's heat race number 1. Yeah, hopefully that wasn't a black screen for too long there when I ran away. My apologies there. All the drivers pulling it up, probably wondering what's going on. Did he end the broadcast? No, you just got a dummy up here sometimes, you know. I'm turning the knobs and twisting the sliders, as my friend Soup would say, and sometimes it gets a little confusing when you're doing the talking. But I have a lot of fun doing it, and no. 1 heat race. They surprised me. Thank you, boys. This is good. This will be for better action. Row 4 to the outside. Stephen Goldner all the way up from Canada to the inside. Future president and current mayor in the 75, Steve Bixler. Now, I don't know if he knows about this presidential campaign, but, you know, it's going to start here. So when it happens, I'll get the credit for it. Row 3 to the outside, the 217 of the Gentleman Jack Hit to the inside, the 161 of the Desert Demon, Terry Landis. Row 2 to the outside, the 009 of Ted York, your fast time setter to the inside, the 31 of B-Temp, Brandon Templeton. Row 1 to the outside, the 20 of the Salesman, Blake Chapman, and starting on the pole, the 7 of Bob DeGood. This will set your feature starting lineup. Wherever you come home in the heat is where you'll start in the feature. Blake Chapman, I think with the midgets, he maybe has been racing these. You know, it's a little harder to come through the pack in the midgets. I don't know. As the Steve King Foundation pace truck pulls off, the green flag is high. It's ready to fly. Bob DeGood drops the hammer, and we're underway. Oh, battle already on there. Steve Bixler slides up in front of the 217 of Jack Hit after he had to check up. They're 3 wide in front. That's Brandon Templeton trying to work his way up in front of York, who does. And Jack Hit, your point leader, hard in the wall. Not going to be what the doctor ordered for the Gentleman Jack Hit. All this going on behind the Salesman of Blake Chapman. Started second, took the lead early, but now Brandon Templeton trying to pull at the leash here a little bit, tug the dog back, and Brandon Templeton looking to the outside through 1 and 2. Can't find the run through the center. Blake can get up and shut the door. Now Brandon looked in close, trying to take a sniff. 2 laps to play. He is right there, trying to mark his territory there. Lifts his leg up, working the bottom through 3 and 4. White flag in the air. 1 more lap to go, and we've got a battle for the lead. Save it for the feature. We've only got one set of fireworks here tonight. Final time for 3 and 4. Checkered flag in the air. Give it to Brendan Templeton, followed by Blake Chapman, Terry Landis, and Stephen Goldner races his way up the 4th. Bob the Good 5th. Ted York 6th. Stephen Bixler 7th. The gentleman rounds out the field. Jack Head as we take, you know what? No, yeah, I don't sponsor this one. We've got rules. We take a short break. I'll be right back. Executive decision because I clicked the wrong video again. You saw that was Coast to Coast Speed Weeks. That happened, I want to say 3 months ago. So we're going to bail on that. We're going to do what I originally wanted to do. Jacket's not going to hate me. For being honest, we need to update those videos anyway. Not everyone in it is a part of it anymore or, you know, sponsors. So I'm doing it. Executive decision. We are sticking around for warm-ups, and we are going to ride around. One of the best to ever do it. This man, Brandon Templeton in the 31. This is, you want to go fast? Well, you got to look like you're going to drive it into the pits. On corner entry, apparently. You know, you got to get that thing so sideways that you're going to have nightmares about it. You got to get on the verge of being comfortable and being uncomfortable, testing those boundaries. Sometimes you're that good, you still get up there, you eat that wall. You have a little lunch, you know, a snack maybe before dinner. But Brandon's still the man when he gets in here in a midget. Always quick, and now we got a guy doing it a different way. Aylmer, Ontario. Or maybe it's like I don't even know, Goldner. You got to help me out here. I was going to try to work in like an A. Canadian, but it is probably Ayler. Ontario. He's reeling in Brandon Templeton as we speak. So, oh, and then Goldner, he gets in the wall. You see him fighting for his life in that 30 machine. Different strokes for different folks. You see, I mean, Brandon now he's going to call it quits, but different ways to get around Blake Chapman now at the top of the charts. He has surpassed. Now he says, Shaggy, you're going to give away my line. I'm pulling off the racetrack. He saw the camera light. And I think they got a live light. It goes green there on the side. He noticed. Got shot. Pulled off. But you wouldn't think a guy, you know, who has sold more popcorn than any other 20-year-old in North America with his advertising would be so shy when we jump on the in-car cam, but some guys just really get you by surprise, and Jack Hit's one of them. You know, he's the point leader, having that bad run in the heat race, starting in the back. Gonna have to really, really work to try to bring this thing up to the front. But that's gonna do it here for warm-ups. Checkered flag waves, all the cards disappear, and that means we get ready to pull up the grid for your Flatline Racing Bodies Midget Sprint Car feature here at the Federated Auto Parts Raceway at I-55. Row 4 to the outside, the 217 of the gentleman. Jack Hit to the inside, the 75 of the mayor, Steve Bixler. Row 3 to the outside, the 009 of Ted York. To the inside, the 7 of Bob DeGood. Row 2 to the top shelf, the 30 of Stephen Goldner. To the inside, the 161 of the Desert Demon, Terry Landis. Row number 1 for your Flatline Racing Bodies Midget Sprint Car feature. To the outside, the 30, or the 20, I can't even read, of the salesman, Blake Chapman. And starting on the pole, the 31 of B-Temp, Brandon Templeton. Brandon Templeton, he is a guy always contending for wins. I mean, you heard me basically write him off as getting the pole early on. He didn't. He was defeated in that battle, but he's trying to win the war here. And the war ends in 25 laps, and he finds himself starting up front for said war. And it is going to take, you know, a whole pack of dogs to knock him off that top step, I think. I don't know if Blake's going to be able to do it by himself. He may need help as the green flag's high. It's ready to fly. We've got 25 laps to play in the clay at I-55 Raceway. Blake Chapman trying to get some steam off the top shelf. Maybe go in there, shut the door on his teammate in the 161 who almost gets into the wall. Terry Landis trying to fight to keep that momentum rolling, but now he's got Steven Goldner to the outside. The Canadian trying to pounce here. Oh, what can he do? Steven Goldner side by side, but give it to the 161. The Desert Demon has him for now. Terry working the bottom. Oh, he gets in the inside wall as Brandon Templeton just trying to walk away here as you got the front three almost in unison. Steven about half a lane higher on entry, but now we got the 009 up 10 York. He's got some clean air. He's trying to make a run. What can he do? Can he build up enough to get to the top of the 30th Steven Goldner? He slides up, shuts the door. Not giving up, though. Not going to surrender. That 009 looking good off of 2. Not so much there in 3 and 4. Maybe a little too high up in those Hershey Kisses. Just can't keep the momentum, but it seems like right now you want to be on the bottom. That's where your leader is. Contact. Goldner comes up a little bit, maybe not knowing the 009's there. Ted's got to back out, live the race another day. Now York, now he's got to get through that red mist here. He's got to calm down, got to wipe off the visor here, go back to work, pull your head. If you start overdriving these midgets, that is where you're going to kill yourself. And that 009 at Katie York trying, but he's running out of time here. We got 16 laps to go. Steven Goldner inches closer to an old rival there, Blake Chapman. This is no shot at Goldner, but not much of a rivalry anymore. I mean, Blake has been he's been Lewis Hamilton lately. And, you know, I mean, that always comes to an end here, but can Goldner make it tonight? Can he start climbing that mountain? Can he get around Blake Chapman? You see he's gotten close. Now he's maybe overdriving a little bit. Starting to lose touch, and all of a sudden, Jack hit. Excuse me, had to cough there. Jack hit all of a sudden in the picture. Working the outside. Trying to get up enough steam here to find a way around the 30 of Goldner. Who's doing a good job there, pitching it in the middle, not giving Jack much room. Not much of an option there on entry, so he really overdrives the center. This time in 3 and 4, you can see much lower, has much more steam. You don't want to get up in those Hershey Kisses that much. That's where you you're losing the speed. You're cutting down your power. You're bogging yourself down. Jack hit, trying to look to the inside here. Do we have a slide job? No. Goldner, he was ready for it though. Bounced up the hill, and maybe that was just enough. Jack hit just threatening it. Opened the door, allowed him to complete it 3 and 4. Welcome to third place. The gentleman has his sights set on Blake Chapman with 9 laps to go. Make it 8 to go as Brandon Templeton crosses the line. Jack hit, had P2 at the line by just a nose over Blake, and now he's got to buy much more than that as long as he doesn't overdrive 3 and 4. There he goes. Give it to Jack, hands down. He maybe needs a caution flag, though. Not a lot of time. Is now Blake Chapman. He goes upstairs. He sees the writing on the wall. He's trying to hold on to P3. Brandon Templeton seems committed to the bottom. How long does he stay down there? Not long. He goes up, he drives the middle. Maybe freaks out Jack a little bit. He overdrives with 5 to go. We've got one hell of a race brewing at I-55. Jack hit, trying to build up some steam off that top shelf. Brandon Templeton leads the way. VTEP gets in that outside wall, not enough to really break momentum with 3 laps to go. Can Jack hit? Find a way to overcome that terrible heat race number 1. Oh, we've got 2 laps to go as Brandon Templeton doesn't need to be perfect here. He's got enough of a lead, but he's got to stay smooth. White flag in the air. We've got 1 lap to go. Brandon Templeton. Can he fight off the 217? He goes to the bottom. Going to protect. Final time through 3 and 4. Checkered flag waves. And Brandon Templeton parks it in victory lane. Jack hit P2 and Blake Chapman 3 for 3 tonight on the podium. Ted York getting P4, Bob DeGood 5th, Landis 6th, Goldner 7th, and Bixler 8th. Goldner involved in a last lap wreck, I believe, because he was running right there in 4th. Let's see what happened to the 30 here, Steven Goldner. Just gets a little too sideways. Trying to really hook it on the bottom to straighten it out early. Just making a big move. He's not points racing. I totally understand that there. Stinks there for the 161 to get involved a little bit. But, hey, at the end of the day, that's racing. Mistakes happen. And these boys just went flag to flag in the midgets to give us 25 hard-fought laps. Great showing here by the boys in the Flatline Racing Bodies Midget Sprint Cars. And now, going to talk to the man who finished P3 here, the salesman, Blake Chapman, a little earlier than we're used to here this evening. But Blake, it just seemed like that bottom went away. And before you noticed, the gentleman took it over from you there. And I mean, as soon as you saw him go by, you kind of realized you went upstairs. That's what you had to do. But, man, did you think it was going away? What could you tell inside the car?
I don't know. I felt like I was just kind of struggling all night there in the feature. I didn't really feel comfortable running a certain line. I tried to stick it to the way bottom, didn't feel great at that, and then tried to run kind of that middle bottom and wasn't feeling very good there either. So I just tried to keep a Goldner off me the best I could, try to defend that bottom side, and then yeah, Jack got around me on the top and figured, okay, well, I better hop up there and get behind him because that's where the fast line must be. So yeah, we hopped up there and we were able to fend off Goldner again and hold on to 3rd place.
Yeah, I mean, not very often. I kind of mentioned it during the broadcast. I mean, let's be real. You guys never. It's not that you guys didn't like each other or anything, but I mean, you rolled into town Monday night. I mean, we expected to see a show between Chapman and Goldner there, and it wasn't me, putting on that show. It was you. How nice was it racing with him again, man? Hard-fought battle, and we haven't seen him around in a while.
Yeah, it was definitely good. He, got a hold of me a messenger to make sure that we didn't roll over to qualifying yet, and asked if he still had time to get in. I was like, yeah, of course. The more the merrier. Especially drivers at his level. I'm sure it's been a while since he's run a midget, and he was really fast in it tonight. So yeah, it's just great to get as many cars as we can, especially the midgets here that have been struggling with the car count every week, it seems like. So yeah, to pick up a driver of his caliber, tonight was a challenge for sure, and made things a little bit more fun.
Yeah, and I mean, you I think would appreciate the move he made on the last lap too. He's not points racing, but he's trying like hell to get by you. So he throws that car into 3 and 4 sideways on that last lap, trying to hook it up on the bottom, but gets inside the inside, hits that inside wall. But man, he was having fun trying to run you down, and it was a lot of fun watching you guys. But Blake, at the end of the day, I know P3 isn't what you want here, but still, there's good points runs, man. But the problem is, I think those 2 guys who finished in front of you, they might want that points championship as well. So, it's an emotional P3, I guess you would say. But at the end of the day, great run. Congratulations. Who you want to thank?
Yeah, I got to thank the parents for watching. Got to thank all the guys on the KSR, especially Terry, for running with me every week. Fortunately, he had some tough luck tonight in the midgets. I got to thank Preston at Epsilon Sprint Wraps, and got to thank Andy at AJ Custom Creations. Got to thank Flatline Racing Bodies for sponsoring this division. Of course, I got to thank Steve at Steve's Custom Golf Clubs, grips, shafts, anything you need, he's got it. Don't be afraid to give him a call. And of course, I got to thank Galen's Gourmet Popcorn. You know, they got some of the best popcorn out there. You can head over to their website, and at checkout, don't forget to use code CART, that's C-A-R-T at checkout. That'll get you 15% off of your order. And of course, I got to thank my cousin here, Shaggy, for putting on the broadcast.
Well, you know, I might have to get a hold of Bixley there too, because have you seen those new clubs that are coming out where all the irons are one length? I want to get his opinion on it. You know, it's like being a golf pro like he is. You know what he thinks about it.
Yeah, reach out to him for sure. You know, he's the master.
Gonna have to. I appreciate that, Blake, and I appreciate you even more for putting on a hell of a show tonight. Great job, man.
Thanks, Shaggy.
Blake Chapman, P3, a 3-for-3 night on the podium, but now we bring up the man who, when it lets me bring him up, there we go. It's letting me grab him now. Jack, I apparently don't know how to use my mouse, but you know how to use that steering wheel, dude. You ripped the outside, and you know the old adage in racing, man. You know, 5 more laps, but I think it proved true for you tonight. You were quick, man. Just ran out of time after that tough heat race. Talk to us about it.
Yeah, you know, you got to go where they're not. So just had to maybe spent too much time getting through traffic there and not quick enough to get around Brandon before he realized where I was at.
Yeah, you know, I mean, obviously, we haven't been getting a bunch of cars here in this, so you do. The thought's always got to be on your mind. You know, we're going to run 25 laps, green flag. But did you think maybe there towards the end, once you got to second, maybe third, that you were going to get a lucky caution? Or did you know you were going to have to go earn it?
I wasn't thinking about it, but honestly, I don't think I would have wanted the caution. You know, that just would have broke my momentum, and maybe they would have figured out that I had made it up there somehow. And we were having fun, man. That's what it's all about. So glad we got to run it out good.
Yeah, man, and you know, I hate to keep bringing him up, but it's hopefully a pressure point if he would listen to this. Was it nice having Goldner out there? Because you know, maybe not as quick as you guys because he doesn't run them regularly, but you know, having somebody out there of a talent way higher than say maybe a Zach Chapman, you know, is it nice having him out there running with you guys?
Well, any of the Chapmans are going to be hard to beat, but
Well, yeah, but I meant skill wise. You know, I'm more of kind of like a fallen tree out there, especially in these things. Blake's like, you know, he's the wind pushing everybody, but I'm kind of the object blocking people.
yeah, man, I obviously the more the merrier, especially, you know, if we can get some of the top drivers out here, you know, like maybe some of those gambler guys, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's a you know, if only I could send you our team messages. I'm on them about every week. You know, I finally get these broadcasting gigs, Jack, and that's when they decide, hey, we're not going to race a lot anymore. It's pretty cool how that stuff works.
Well, yeah, man. I mean, you know, there's a ton of guys in this league, you know, and I think maybe they're just afraid of the midgets or haven't given them a fair shot or something, you know. But they're so much fun to drive, man. Especially when you got guys that you race with every week and you can, you know, run clean and go green to checkers like that.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things that, you know, you kind of, once you learn the car, you realize how, man, they provide a lot of room. I don't know why it seems like they're roomier than the sprint cars, but it's just, I don't know, the way you can manipulate them, turn them sideways with the throttle. They put on a hell of a show, and Jack, you were a big part of that tonight, man. Up 6 spots, like I say, I know, tough heat race, nothing you could do about that, nothing you did there, but able to dig your way out, come home P2, man, that's a good run. Who you want to thank?
Got to thank you for putting on the broadcast. Flatline Racing Bods for sponsoring not only our division here, but all Hometown Heroes. I got to thank the guys that did come out and give us a good field to race with here, and everybody behind the scenes at Coast to Coast. And got to thank my wife for giving me time to do it.
Well, hey, hell of a run, Jack. Can't wait to talk to you again, man. Good luck the rest of the way, brother.
Thanks, Zach.
Jack hit, bringing home P2. And now we bring up the man of the hour here. 25 laps, green flag. How we feeling, Brandon Templeton, man? I know these things wear you out a little bit here.
Yeah, that one felt pretty good. I mean, those guys were all over me the whole way. I know I led most of it or all of it, but it was really a close race. I mean, it was one of those tracks where you could tell in practice and qualifying and stuff that everyone was really close to being the same speed. And so it was just going to be about being smooth and being smart about picking your line. And, I got through it in the heat race, luckily, and was able to just maintain in the feature. But it was pretty good track. Line changed up. And so that was kind of fun.
Yeah, I mean, and you were going to say there the line changed up. I know, trust me, it's obviously, we love to call it a sim, but as Dino says, at the end of the day, it's a game. Normally there is one good line. But, man, from what I'm seeing behind you right now in this camera view and from what we were seeing all night, you could pretty much put this car wherever you wanted to, especially in the early parts of the feature. Did it feel like that? Because, I mean, you were running – probably about half a lane lower than Blake was. Jack was up top. Goldner was in the middle. I mean, you guys all kind of had your own thing going, man. It was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, I could kind of feel like in practice and warm-ups, I was trying lines out and stuff, and I wasn't finding one line was a lot faster than the other. It was all pretty equal no matter what you did if you hit your line right. So it was, really about keeping that angle of the car right and staying in the throttle and keeping it straight, coming off the corners, and just keeping that momentum.
Yeah, I know, being out front, it's not easy. But what gave you the sense there towards the end? I mean, instinctually, you probably could have held the lead maybe one or two more laps on the bottom. But, man, do you just feel in the race car, hey, bottom's kind of starting to go away. I got to shift up a little bit. I think it's time. I mean, do you just get that from doing a lot of laps in the car?
I mean, yeah, you can at times, and really sometimes it just starts getting trickier to try to hit your lines and hit your marks, and so you got to try something different that's a little easier that know that you're going to be able to consistently run. But in this case, is the case of, thank God it's a game. Like you were saying earlier, I was able to peek up in the mirror there when I saw that someone's name had passed Chapman's on my relative, and I peeked up and I saw that he was at least up in the middle. I didn't know if he was top or middle, but I got off the bottom and found it a little bit there.
Well, man, you got to take advantage of the tools that are given to you, and you did that tonight, able to hold on after leading most of the race. Like you say, normally when we see the 31 up front, if Blake's not near you, it's kind of you dominated, you stunk up the show. But this one, man, they were right on your tail, dude. One mistake, and you would have gifted that thing away. But, Brandon, you were perfect tonight. Congratulations on the good run, man. Who you want to thank?
I got to thank Flatline Racing Bodies and the Chapmans for helping out, supporting us on Wednesday nights and keeping this thing going and getting the broadcast up. So that's pretty cool. Extreme Images, Mealy's Makery, Big C's Lawn Care, Jay with Dirt Track Bank, and Hammer Down Racing, you ShaggyTV, killing it on the broadcast. Everyone at Coast to Coast for helping out and keeping it going. Thanks.
Hey, hell of a run, man. Love seeing this 31. Park it at the top. I love that Dirt Track Bank, man. Can't wait to see you back up here again. Good run tonight.
Thank you.
Brandon Templeton bringing home the checkered flag. Jack Hitt pulling that Hooters machine up. And, well, Blake, he's just, it is in slow motion, but he's doing what he does best there. Taking his time getting there. Let's see if we can zoom out, get one of all of them. There we go. Oh, this one probably better, but that's going to do it here for a great night of racing here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network at the I-55 Raceway. Big shout out to Flatline Racing Bodies, A&J Custom Creations, all the other sponsors that grease the wheel around here so we can keep doing what we love, and that's dirt racing. I'm Zach Chapman with ShaggyTV. I want to thank you for tuning in, sticking around this long, and if you have a good evening. And if you don't tune in tomorrow, well, have a wonderful Easter with the family and enjoy the time off work. Have a good one.